All right, bam. We're live. Welcome. All right, let's get started here. Get everybody set up. Takes just a second. Get the screen shared. Welcome. Let us know where you're from if you're new, what part of the country you do your remodeling in. All right, we'll get started. So, welcome. It's day 90. That's right. Only going to have 10 days till we hit 100. And that's what this challenge has been about 100 days of AI prompts that help you and your remodeling business. So, what's been great about this is we take the entire cycle, everything that you need. There's 6 things, key areas that you have to run a remodeling business, right? We go over you as the leader of the company. We get into all the sales. We get into the process of running the business, right? Managing the jobs. We talk about how you work with your people. We do the client journey, what it's like with the customer. And then we get into the marketing and advertising. So this is what the 100 days is all about. We go through all of this in detail. It's everything that you need to run a successful remodeling business. It's all there. Every one of these is recorded and put on YouTube. They're each about 12 minutes long. Yeah, you have to sift through because occasionally I'm having conversations, but in about 15 minutes a day in 100 days, you'll know everything that you need to know about running your remodeling business. So those of you that have been joining, I appreciate it. If you're here and you're new, let me know if you have any questions, because today we're doing day 90 and we're just talking about some things that are going to help you with your online ads. Okay. A lot has shifted and changed. And just because you had success a year ago doesn't mean that it's going to work again. The algorithms are different. The way people are using are different. The way that the Meta and other companies want to get paid and the way they're putting your ads out is different. So anyway, Adrian, looks like if you're new, welcome. Let me know where you're from. All right, let's go. So again, if you watch on the YouTube, you can see some slides, but it's no big deal. If you're here on TikTok, please ask any questions at any time. Let me know where you're from. If you're new, welcome. Appreciate you jumping in. Good to see you. All right, so here we go. We're talking remodeling and advertising. For a lot of people, advertising is like a slot machine in a sense, or it can be like an ATM. So some people are putting their money in and just hoping that something comes out. That's the slot machine style. Other people, it's like putting in their card to the ATM. They know that every time they put in, they're going to get money out, right? That's the ideal way that marketing works. That's why people create large marketing budgets. You know, there's people spending $20,000 a day online, right? Because they are getting a return greater than that. So think about it this way. If you were to hand me $1 and I always gave you back $2, $3, $4, how many dollars would you go find? Quite a few, right? All right. That is proper marketing. And that's what it can do for your business. Unfortunately, a lot of guys struggle with getting it refined, okay? Because you don't want to do what's called spray and pray. Some guys just say, I'm going to put ads out there, right? And they do a bunch of these random style ads like this. They just throw them everywhere. And this is the kind of stuff that often you end up just wasting a lot of time and money. All right, welcome. If you're new, let me know where you're from. All right, so here we go. When you just post one type of ad and you just put it everywhere, you try to hit to everyone with one generic message, and then you're just hoping. Yeah, hope doesn't book jobs. Strategy does, okay? Hey, Drew, welcome. Welcome. We're talking about remodeling and advertising. So this has been known. There's old school marketers, right, that have known this for years. And if you watch any of their videos, you buy their books, the core concepts always stay the same. It's just the medium that you're putting the ads onto. That's what changes, okay? So Half of your ad spend can be wasted if you don't know your message and your market. And that's from a famous Wanamaker's line. The mission is pretty simple. We sell or else. And that's like a David Ogilvy quote. Pretty interesting. Good stuff. Okay. Welcome, Michael. If you're new here, let me know where you're from. Appreciate you jumping in. We're just talking about advertising. Ask any questions at any point. So why does most people do spray and pray? It's because they don't know any better, right? They just put an ad, send it out there. They think, oh, that's marketing, that's advertising. And it's much more than that. Hey, Mac Daddy, welcome. Let me know where you're from. All right. So when you send the wrong message or an average message and you put it out, it's not going to connect. You can't ignore what's called the awareness stage. You have to understand where are the clients that you're trying to attract right now in their buying process. And when you just try to chase attention without any permission and follow up, it just starts failing. That's something that Seth Godin talks about. You don't map your content to like see, think, do, care, right? That's another guy's message. There's a whole process. All right, so here we go. You have to have more of like a sniper plan than a spray and pray. You got to pick the market. Right? So let's say you're a kitchen remodeler and you want to focus on complete remodels, redesigns. You're not doing pull and replace, right? So you create an ad around that. If that's your ideal client, then that's the type of ad that you send out there. And then you have to recognize the different stages of homeowners. Mac Daddy, welcome. Steve, welcome. Let me know where you're from if you're new. So a lot of homeowners are still in the unaware stage. We've talked about this the other night. Some are in problem aware, some are in solution aware, some are in product aware, and some are at the point where they're ready to purchase, right? So you have to understand the stage and how you're advertising. And your message, you have to have like 5 different messages so you can attract clients in all the different phases. All right. So what should your message do? It should promise an outcome. Safety, function, style, few surprises, right? How do you do that? Hey, Jacob, welcome. Mark, welcome. Let me know where you're from if you're new. You use proof, right? Photos before and after. Show transformations. You got to provide updates from current jobs that you're working on, testimonials, right? Show them why your design process is the bomb. Why should they have it? Roy, welcome. All right. So you have to choose your media too. You can be very select now. Okay. You don't have to be on everything. Are you going to do shorts, reels? How are you going to advertise? Right. Are you going to do checklists, budget ranges? What can go wrong? How we can prevent it? Like, what are your headlines going to be like? Are you going to offer to book a call for a free estimate? Are you going to book for a design or a measure fee? Right? Are you going to have some retargeting ads? Are you going to try doing some Google, some AI? All this has to be considered how you're going to put this out there. So you have to have some emails. You have to have some follow-up. You got to have some sort of a campaign. When you get a lead in, how are you staying up to date with it? The days of just telling someone I'm going to come out on Wednesday and give you a free estimate, that's not working. Your competition's doing a lot more. They're sending out text messages. They're sending out the consumer guide to purchasing home remodeling, right? They're giving the homeowner all these extra things, this value. And they're making your competition starts looking like the professional, where you're like the amateur. You might be the best carpenter, but the homeowner doesn't even know that because you're not giving them inputs, good information up front. All right. So you have to learn to follow up with permission, and you do that by setting up an automation system. So that way, once you get a phone call and you get their information down, you can put them into your CRM, and then you can do workflows and triggers so that messages start going out to them and they can learn more about your company. You put together a little welcome video that you do an introduction, right? All this stuff. This is how people are able to sell on their first appointment when they go with the homeowner, because they're doing all the pre-selling behind the scenes. Whereas a lot of guys are waiting till their first visit and then they're trying to do the whole process. You're like 3 days behind your competition. Okay. I'm already sending out a video explaining the process. Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, when we meet with you, this is what we're going to do. And if you like everything and if you're comfortable, then we're going to proceed right into an agreement on site. That's how you can do these one call closes because you're pre-framing them ahead of time. It's much simpler and easier. And that's the beauty of technology now. The videos are getting easier and easier to create. The automation systems are getting simpler and more effective. And homeowners like actually purchasing online like that. All right. So, and now what's beautiful is you can track all this. I can tell if the person read my email or opened it. I can tell if they watched my videos. Okay. I can see how they move around on the website to see if they've actually looked at the things that we asked them to. It gets crazy. All right. So in the old days, you just put an ad out, right? You maybe made this kind of an ad or you made this ad. Nowadays, it's more targeted. It's more specific. So imagine that you start posting a couple times a week, right? And now you're starting to get real clients coming in and people that are very interested in your service. This is how we build traction with the homeowners. So, Meathead, welcome. Jane, welcome. If you're new, let me know where you're from. I'm just about wrapping up the content. And any questions you have on advertising, social media, you name it, let me know. Here's the AI prompt that you can use to help create your own solid foundation to get started. So you're going to tell the chat agent like ChatGPT, Claude, whoever you use, act as my remodeling CMO and be a direct response media buyer, right? And you're going to say, here's my last couple ads. You're going to upload them so it can see what they look like. And then you're say, I want you to build a 30-day precise plan where you're going to very much target and hone in on one ideal client. That's the client avatar that we talk about. So you have to define that ideal client, which if you follow the other videos, that's in there, but you can do that here. And what are the top 3 jobs, right? Remember we discussed that. If you are a kitchen remodeler, is that it? Or is it bath remodels or additions? Whatever's most profitable for you, that's what you should be targeting in these ads. Now, you're going to map out your audience awareness, and those are the 5 stages, right? You're going to get 3 messages for each of the 5 stages. So now you have 15 versions of the ad that you'll run. And then you're going to build the see, think, do, care content, right? 5 see messages, 4 think, 3 do, 3 care. And then boom, now you have a campaign to run on social media. You're going to write 2 variants of these ads, right? And that'll be for your marketing message. And then you create the plan and put it into practice. So then you keep track of it. You see what kind of results you get. What are the views? What are the clicks? How many leads are you getting? And then you know which ones to tweak, which ones to keep. And then over time, when you use Meta and you put in pixels, it starts getting history. And then your ads just get more and more effective over time. What you don't want to do is throw out an ad, turn it off because you got too busy, and then throw it back out again and try a new one. You want to build some consistency. All right. So if you're new, please let me know what part of the country you're from. If you have any questions, AI in. Okay, so Meathead, I see in your comment. Give me 1 second. Looks like TikTok was blocking it. Yeah, so the AI, I don't know your level of understanding. This might be rudimentary to you, might be high. Let me know. Does this make sense? How you have to really custom tailor your prompts and really give it a lot of detail? Because AI can only talk back what it knows. Pretty decent. Okay. Yeah. So the last couple of days we've been talking about, are you in construction, remodeling? What's your niche? What do you guys specialize in? Okay, GC, perfect. So I'm a GC. I do whole house remodels. We do additions, kitchens, baths, basements, decks, windows, siding, roofing, doors. Over the years, I really like kitchens, right? Or I like basements. So you pick one thing per campaign is what I'm saying. You can do all the different jobs, But when you're doing an advertising campaign with social media, I would tell you to pick the most profitable one or two things and really hone in on that. Okay, so you're more commercial. So you could put into AI, I'm a commercial general contractor. These are the types of projects that I prefer to have, that we're effective at, that make us the most money. And then you can start asking AI, how do I get in front of the right people, right, to bring in more of this type of business? And you're going to have to come up with a little bit of a strategy, a campaign. So for me, I don't do a ton of commercial stuff. We do like a coffee shop, maybe a restaurant. We'll build the bar, something like that. So for me, like, it's more networking in the local community. For you, it might be a little bit different, how you're going to go about getting yours. But when you target these ads through AI, there's certain marketing principles, right? Dan Kennedy's a really good person to start researching. David Ogilvy is another good person to add in there. Like, what type of work, what's your best, what's the most profitable work that you do in the commercial side? So, okay, so when you're doing building out the space, help me understand, how many years in the commercial world do you have when you say, because you're looking for help with bidding? Do you get a full set of plans? Like, are you getting a bid package? So you've been doing this a long time. So you're trying to save time. Okay. Are you scanning your documents, these bid packages, and uploading them into AI? Are you trying, because you need like material takeoffs? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for you, it's just not the scale. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a arduous process, especially for your type of work. It's complex. Are you familiar with how to talk to? Do you use? I mean, any of them you can do it, but there's a microphone option where you could read off the questions that you're trying to answer. You can speak it directly into AI, and a lot of people, that really speeds up the process. So you're not having to type it all in. Like, you can just talk to it like it's your assistant. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, yeah, you might have to go page by page. Like, if you're trying to get like metal stud count and you're trying to figure out, cove vinyl base, whatever you're putting in, like, that could be a process, for sure. Yeah, it's complex. I I would consider, and maybe yeah, people are working on it behind the scenes. Like, we're working on, I have a couple guys, we're building it out for kitchen remodels, an AI prompt setup, so that when it walks you directly through every single step that you need to make sure that you're checking off, so that you nail everything perfectly when you're getting ready to bid a kitchen remodel. And you just talk to it, and it can spit back and say, wait a minute, did you miss this? Are you sure you accounted for, you know like, inside corners? Are you allowing for spacing so that the are they putting handles on the drawers, because you don't want the one drawer to hit the other one, things like that. So AI is getting smarter. It's only as smart as the information that gets put into it. Are you familiar with building your own GPT within Chat GPT? You can create your own where you could start feeding it. Yeah, so I have. Okay, yes, there you go. You're onto it. Yeah, so I would highly recommend that you build your own GPT, because you're going to teach it how to do what you want it to do on each job that you run through, right? You're going to give it the parameters. Hey, make sure I tell you this, make sure I give you that. And it's going to get smarter over time. So that's what we do. We have our own GPT, and we feed it all the parameters. I give it the instructions. Like, this is how I want you to do it. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, somebody might already have one out there in the commercial remodeling space. I'm not aware, but I don't. Here's what I'm finding: nobody knows what you know. If you've been doing this business for 20 years, you're the expert. Okay, you should have everything that you know up here. You just need to get it into the computer so that the computer can think faster for you and quicker, right? And it won't miss as much, because I'll get distracted and miss things. I'll think I did it, and I usually need someone. Yeah, copy and paste. Exactly. Yeah. So what I'll do, and you might already be doing this as well. You sound like pretty top notch. I'm usually using a Google Doc, so I just talk into Google Docs. I get my first draft, right? Then I'll have it. I might use like DeepSeek to do my grammar and spelling check, and then I get it back. Then once I have that document of instructions, steps for the framework, I then take that document, download it onto the PC, and then upload it into Chat GPT so I can give it to the GPT that I've crafted, so it understands how to do what I want it to do. And it holds that knowledge base. It can store that file, and it knows, so I don't have to tell it every time. It knows it. Yeah, listen, I hear you, man. You're like I have like now 2 and 500 page documents, because here's what I'll do. I'll just keep adding to the document because something else comes to mind, right? And you're right. There's so many different scenarios. You have so much experience. It's here. You just have to remember it sometimes. So I've done a lot of work in old houses. That's how I got started, renovating like 1900s houses in around the city. And so I understand a lot that somebody coming in from new construction doesn't, and vice versa. So you have to take all that knowledge. Like, I literally go back and look at jobs. Like, I'll go to my scope and my proposal from jobs from 15 years ago, and I'll read that into the agent. I'll say, this is what happens on a 1920s row home in this area of this city, right? The brick was shitty brick because it was ballast coming over from Europe. It wasn't even real brick being built here in America. So it all crumbles. Like, I put all that in so it has a extensive knowledge base, to where if I bid another job in a certain neighborhood, it can reference that other job that I bid. Now, for you, it might be a little bit different. You might have to be aware of like soil conditions in different parts of your state or the county that you work in, right? And you start feeding that information in, and it's going to have that knowledge base to remember. Damn, if we do another project in that zip code, there's a lot of rock over there, 3 feet down. We're going to have problems with our footers. Or there's a high radon over there. We're going to have to be worried about that. Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff that I think you should get out of your mind and get it into, just keep creating Google Docs. And then every time they get up to a couple hundred pages or whatever, you just upload that into the GPT. So that's how we're approaching it right now. So any so I mean, it's funny you say that. So Elon Musk has already got that Neuralink. I've I'm careful who I talk around, but like I would love to have that. Just have they you can drill a hole in the back of the head and just plug that in there, right? I mean, it, it's it's amazing what our because we all know, well, not everyone realizes, but we're only using this much of our brain because we don't know how to tap into the other resources that are there. But yeah, if you could put a chip in the back of my head and it's going to like give me 10 times the computing power and the brain power, my god, I would have that tomorrow. Right, because we only know what we know. And that whole thing about how we can only see a certain percent of what's actually happening at any given moment. We're missing things all the time. How many times have you looked at a job and you swore you looked at that thing in that corner over there, or you thought you understood the elevation of that lot, and then you get back, you go home, you write everything up, you have to go back visit again like a month later, and you're like, damn, I never even saw that. I forgot to. How did I miss that? I mean, it just happens. We're imperfect. So Kim Reynolds, welcome. Let us know where you're. Yeah, every day. I mean, we can only pay attention to so much. So, but very cool. Yeah. So most. Hold on. You're getting. TikTok is very sensitive around AI. It restricts a lot of your comments. I got to go back in. I don't know how long these have been here. Yeah, like looking for a tape measure. Exactly. Yep. So what you had asked what the AI, what I do here. This is what I've taken. I take, for anyone that wants to run a residential remodeling company, I've broken it out into 6 components. And then I take those 6 components and I break them in. I take 100 days and I go over every single component of what I've learned in the 20 plus years of running remodeling business, what it takes to not just survive but like thrive, right? So that's what these lives are. Today is day 90 out of 100. I've got 10 more left. And then I'll have completed the whole cycle. And then we'll start something different. But pretty much every day I come on for a few minutes and talk. And it's always about AI and remodeling. Okay. What is it that you can tie in? Mainly, I focus on the prompting because here's the thing, whether you use DeepSeek, Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT, yes, there are nuances, but the main thing is I'm finding a lot of people don't even understand how the agents work and how the information you're going to get back is only as good as the information that goes into it. And you being in this business a long time, tell me if you don't see this to be a big truth. Everybody right now is a trick person. Everybody knows all the tricks because they watch TikTok, they watch YouTube, they watch Instagram, and they get this little snippet of information. And it's some trick, right? How to use a miter saw trick. But nobody understands the foundational principles. They don't know when you're supposed to use the trick. And that's what people are missing because nobody wants to do the research, the deep dive, or has been out in the field long enough to go, whoa, 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 that trick, that doesn't work in this situation. Yeah. So this is kind of taking people back and saying, look, you got to understand the foundational principle. Like, how does marketing work? Now, how can I use AI? Because if you don't understand the foundational principles, the trick is irrelevant. So it's kind of, you ever watch these silly karate guys that try to show like this silly little move when they don't understand the core principles? You get it. So correct. And it can be, yeah, and 100% they do. And while it can work that way, the real value is in telling it to how you want it to source and giving it all the proper information up front. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so it's funny. That's what tonight started out with. Google organic search. Like a lot of residential contractors, they live, they're getting calls or they get leads because people go online and say, "I need a kitchen remodeler in whatever area of the country they're in." Oh, by the way, did you? What part of the country are you in? By the way, I'm in Maryland, on the Bay. Let me know what part of the country you're in. But anyway, organic search on Google in this last year is down like 50 to 60% because people aren't doing search on Google. They are going into the AI and search and asking for help. The problem is AI doesn't have all the information. So it's not giving them back all the answers. It's only giving it back the answers that it's aware of. Oh, Boise. Okay. So, do you know the company ClickFunnels being out in Boise? They're the owner of that company, Russell. Yes. Yeah, very solid point. Yeah. So I've heavily into like the ClickFunnel business sense. Hey there, E- Eric. There's a guy in here who's out of lives meet his profile's Meathead. He's out of Boise. You guys could probably connect. He does commercial construction. So Eric, tell me where you just relocated to. Exactly. That's funny. Yes, sir, Meathead. So yeah. Yeah. So the shift now is that the content that has to be online has to help build. So yeah, Eric, this gentleman, profile Meathead, he's in Boise. I mean, what are the chances that of all the part of the country there'd be two people in here at the same time? And you guys are probably within, an hour's drive of each other. It's kind of small world. So anyhow, Meathead does commercial construction, but the um the thing that's changing now is that okay, you're like 3 minutes. Very cool. Yeah, such a small world. Yeah, Eric is an expert at the digital stuff. Too funny. So the big thing that's shifting is that ChatGPT is searching for like credibility. It wants to know that you know what you're talking about. So it's people are having to look into posting things like articles now and relevancy and being on multiple sites as opposed to just one site, whereas Google just searched and looked for you more at like the one place. So you're definitely seeing a shift in how people are going to have to be marketing themselves online. Yes, exactly. Yep. Yeah, Eric, 100%. And Meathead's pretty good on on chat. He's going to be creating his own GPT moving forward to help with so he does a lot more commercial work, much more arduous process than what most residential guys ever have to get into. I mean, some of these commercial projects just it's it could take you over a week to probably bid it properly. Yeah, you're going to get there. right? People are already starting to figure that part out. A good month. Yeah, no, you're probably depending on the size of the project you're doing. I can see that 100%. Give me like a ballpark of a what's an average price range for a job you're bidding on. So to give put it in perspective, like a lot of remodelers, okay, 350,000. Yeah. I mean, that's so for a lot of remodelers, that's on their higher end for sure. Most, you know, I mean, nowadays a kitchen's 100 grand, a bathroom could be 50, right? An addition's easily going to be over 100 typically. So, but the specifications for you guys is usually trickier. You know, you guys, that's all I guess I'm trying to say. So, yeah, very cool. Yes. Yeah, easily the cabinets be 50. Yeah. Yeah, and just like your electrical work is so much more regulated, the plumbing, everything. You have the sprinkler systems. Although now a lot of jurisdictions are making sprinklers be pretty standard for residential, for new construction at least. Yep. So, yeah, very cool. All right. Well, uh, meathead or yeah, I think you do it one step at a time. That's a perfect goal, you know? It's a very good goal to have. It really will be treat it like so AI is some people are scared it's gonna replace them, but AI is really just becoming your assistant. Like, it's gonna make you 10 times more efficient. Yeah, 100%. Who doesn't want it now? But there's still a lot of legwork that has to happen behind the scenes to make it all work together. But that's getting compressed really quickly. I mean, just what's possible today from 6 months ago, you know, it's amazing. I I can't speak for you, but, like, I find myself not wanting to go to bed at the same time anymore because I wanna learn a little. I'm trying to find out what else does somebody else know, what's new that's happened that maybe I should be aware of for tomorrow, right? And, I mean, 3 years ago, that wasn't what the world that I was living in. Things weren't happening that fast. I don't wanna be left behind on this one. I got caught off guard in 2008 through 12. I owned, all my eggs were in one basket. Alls I did was renovate property, buy it, fix it up, sell it, rent it, keep it, and I never saw that crash coming. It took years to rebuild from that, so I don't wanna go th yeah. I made a promise to myself, like, I will not experience life like that again. I mean, it's unfortunate, but I've lost, some friends of mine, they decided to check out in life when that stuff happened. You know what I mean? Because it got so bad for some people. And I don't want to be, I don't ever want to go through something like that again. So now, you know, I do what I can to at least make the effort to get informed and try to implement what I'm capable of and even push myself. So I never envisioned myself being like a digital person. I like technology if it makes my job easier, but it's things have really shifted, is what I'm saying. So let's see. Is there anybody else that's jumped on new that hasn't said hello? Where you're from? TP Renovations. Let us know where you're from. RT Stancil. Good to have you here as well. Let us know what part of the country you're from. But what else is happening? Nice. Southwest Virginia. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so I'm in Maryland, right off the bay on like the western side of the Chesapeake Bay. So not happy about this cold front that's coming through. But otherwise, everything's going pretty good. What type of work do you do, TP renovations? What's your like niche or specialty? So, like my background is a GC. Started a remodeling company because I was frustrated. I was buying properties and fixing them up, and I was very frustrated with the type of quality of the people I was hiring. So I was like, I could run my own remodeling company and get through my projects much faster. And then that led to all of a sudden all the neighbors wanting remodeling projects. And then we just went all in, started doing kitchens, baths, basements, decks, then started a design build side to the company, then brought in a handyman division. Then we got into property preservation type work. So, like, over the years, you're just stacking skills. Mm. Yeah. It's very interesting. There's a bunch of other guys online that do stuff like I do, help guys with strategy and stuff. And many of them are really against the handyman division. And I got to speak I think it's cuz they don't understand it. When I first got into the business, we shaded or screened those handyman calls. And over time, I started asking myself, why are we not doing it? And everyone was telling me, Mike, it's not profitable. You want to be on a job, you want to be on a bathroom job. But this is what I found. We decided to go against the grain because I was like, there's a lot of demand for handyman in my area. The consumer started looking at handyman as that's who I want to hire to do my kitchen. I want a handyman to build my deck. And all we had to do was just change the way we structured our guys. We couldn't send obviously three guys to a handyman job, but the one lead carpenter with his own vehicle could go knock out handyman work all the time. And that handyman division became one of the best decisions we ever made because it became a feeder for the rest of the company. We would land a lot of these small projects. The homeowner would be like, you guys are great. Thanks for showing up, getting the job done. We'd leave behind a flyer with our services. A little while later, they'd call us for the next big job. And we weren't even competing with anybody at that point because they just wanted to hire us. So I firmly believe in before you shoot down some idea and say it doesn't work, try to understand, wait a minute, how could I make it work in my business? So TP, I'm assuming what you're telling me is you do all the work yourself. Is that right? Because you made the comment you don't hire anyone. Okay, yeah. So Meathead, that I'm telling you, man. Yes, you're 100% correct. You build homeowners are looking for someone they can trust, and if they call you and need a small thing taken care of, and you do that well, it's so easy to do that well, right? You're in and out typically in less than a day. We just got a phone call the other day. This is how crazy it is. Lady thought she had a dead mouse under her fridge, and the whole house was smelling funny. And she was willing to pay an emergency service call fee to have someone come out that afternoon. And the part of the problem was she had a really nice high end kitchen where I'm somebody got the measurements wrong. They built the refrigerator cabinet so tight that you had to drag it and pull it. It was rubbing up against all the edges. It was a pain to get this refrigerator out of there. But and then while we're there talking with her about this situation, it just naturally leads into other problems that they're having at the house and how they need someone to fix these other things. And so if you are on the service call or your technician has just a little bit of sales skills, man, it's so easy to just that $300 service call now becomes a $10,000, $100,000 job. Okay, so TP, you're saying you mainly do it because it costs too much. No one really does good. Yeah, so I ran into that. That's why I had ended up starting my own business, right? Because I was cherry picking, finding really good carpenters workers that worked for other companies that couldn't manage themselves. And I'd say, hey, I'd like to hire you to be a part of our company. Okay. So yeah, many guys are following your framework. You know, you do one house at a time. You got all the skills. That's awesome. It's a really good time to be in that business right now, especially if you have the knack for finding the property. I'm shocked at how many homeowners do not want to go through the rehab process. They just want to buy the house fixed, which naturally serves into your expertise. Oh, you're the guy. Damn, you're the guy that crawled under that fucking foundation. Man, that work was crazy that you went through. I can't believe you uh got all those concrete bags delivered. Like, I mean, we've done similar stuff and underpinning. We get a concrete truck. I'm trying to figure out. I was like, this guy mixed all that concrete by hand. You got to be, man, that's a lot of work. But what I noticed, your work is super clean, right? You had that underside, the foundation that you had dug out, and your forms, all your framework. It was like very, very precise work. I was like, this guy's got clean work. Really, the attention to detail is what caught my attention. And that's what ended up getting me to like make a comment because I was like, damn, this guy's no joke. He knows what he's doing. Because most of the time it's a mess. We've got a guy down the road for me. He's got a similar project to what you just tackled, and he rented a backhoe and he's digging up his backyard. And the next thing you know, he's got dirt here, he's got dirt there. It's the whole site is just a disaster. And the county had to come and put a stop work order on it because it was such a mess. You know, I mean, that's the kind of stuff you see most of the time. You don't see the clean job site like you had, that's for sure. Ah, man, that's you must be a younger guy than me. Good for you, brother. That's a lot of work. That's a good workout. I mean, those are 65-pound bags of concrete, are they not? I mean, that's and uh I liked and all the bridging that you did, right, to get the house jacked up. I mean, you know, obviously there's professional companies. The only difference they have is that nice hydraulic setup where they from out on the driveway they can control and raise the house at one lift at a time. Whereas, I mean, you're literally going in there with your hand jack and raising it like a couple inches over here. And then you're scurrying over it and then raising it a couple inches in the other corner and then scurrying over. I mean, I've had to do that. That stuff's crazy. It takes forever. And the whole time you're just like, please don't, I don't, if this house falls, you're making sure there's enough oil in all the jacks and you're making sure that, you know, you're tightening down that where the oil fill, making sure that, you know, everything's solid because you're really trusting that. You're 24. Well, good for you. Yeah, Meathead, you should check out TP's renovations. Go to his page and check out his videos of this project. I mean, it's really it's impressive work. At 24, it's even more impressive. I'll be like that's good for you for having the courage to take on something like that. That's no joke. That's a big job. One of the first projects, so I got a license, like, so I was doing my own rehabs in my state. I don't need a license if I'm working on my own property, but I started getting lots of requests to work for neighbors and other investors. So that's why I went and got licensed early on. And one of the first projects that we got hired for was a similar repair, but not to the same extent that what you went through. We had to get into a crawl space like this, and we had to dig it deeper, and we had to put all new footers in. It was a lot of work. I mean, I had to hire a couple guys that were really thin and good at army crawling, and I mean, we were in there for weeks digging all that out by hand. It's just a lot of work. Yeah. Okay. So because you didn't have the permit, now that I got you, hey, you got to do what you got to do. No, whatever, permit or not permit, that's up to you, brother. As long as you sleep at night, all good. But yeah, that's a lot of work. So, but yeah, like there's days where I look at all these stupid bottle jacks I have in my garage going, like, it's time to get rid of them. Mike, you're not doing that project again, but you end up needing a bunch over to do a project like that. Exactly. You got it, meathead. Yes. We don't have to, as we get older, we can find other people to get in there and do that work, back those guys that are in their 20s. So, well, look, I appreciate you guys being in here. TP, obviously, it's the first time I've ever, you've been here, so thanks for joining. Yeah, you have like 20 of them. It gets ridiculous. You're like, when am I going to use 20 bottle jacks again? So, and Meathead, I feel like maybe I've seen your username before, but I'm not certain if we've chatted. So, thank you for the participating and comment and sharing. And look forward to seeing you guys. We'll be back. Like I said, I do this every day or every night, rather. Got 10 more in this session. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about helping you get like a referral engine going with your online stuff. And yeah, so the next few days, we're finishing out this part over here, which is all marketing related. So the YouTube channel has a workshop section, and in there you'll see there's over 100 of these that you can pinpoint. Usually the content is the first, like, look within like the first 12 minutes. There's usually where I'm talking about the content, and then the rest of the videos tends to be this type of interaction if people are jumping in and out of the lives. So you might see some that are 20 minutes, some that are an hour and a half. It just depends on how much interaction was happening on the chat. So, but yeah, thank you. If you're following the account, you can reach out to me, direct message me at any time. If you ever have any questions, something comes up and it's got you frustrated. I find at the end of the day, what's really nice about the community that I'm working with here is I have a lot of guys that want the business to be better, right? And are making it better. And so they have a positive attitude about getting through the hurdles. Unfortunately, I find a lot of guys in this business get bitter because they forgot that the whole reason this business exists is because you're a problem solver and you take other people's problems and you eliminate them for them. And that's why we get paid. The day that you stop embracing the problem, you become the problem in a sense, right? You have to wake up every day and go, I can't wait to see what problems I'm going to fucking solve today, because that's what I get paid for. And that's why I'm here. That's the skill that I have. Like, that's what I can contribute. So, just don't lose sight of that. And so many of the other groups that when I first got into the online space, so many of these other groups, everybody's negative. And I'm like, and it's like, what's happening? So give it 1 second, it'll come back. But anyway, so this is a good place to come if you want to get like positive reinforcement and get around other people that are really making a go out of it, of their remodeling business. All right. Yes. See, yeah, meathead. You and I, because you have that experience, right? We have similar years in the business. All this stuff is like, it just comes natural now. You get it. You understand the struggle. You've been there. You've lived it. But yeah, like you have to wait. It's funny how our frame of reference can get shifted. You'll wake up one day and you'll be like tired of problems. And it's only because of the way you're looking at the problems. We have to remember, wait a minute, I need to find a way to make sure I'm making profit by solving these problems every day. I want the problems. The problems mean I get paid. The problem is I'm not charging enough, or I don't know how to solve the problem and make money. So I'm just dealing with problems that are wearing me out. I think that's where most guys end up. But yes, nails and boards. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Ah, fantastic. Yeah. Nah, just, yeah, remember, that's your strength. Professional problem solver. And just so happens we come packaged to solve home remodeling issues, or in your case, commercial building problems. So, all right, guys, appreciate you all being here. And again, hope to see you on the next one. Reach out if you ever have any questions. Uh, thank you. Take care.